on global warming. And so, I mean, there's a pattern. There was the war on communism. There was the war on poverty. There
war
was
on drugs.
War on drugs. War on war. With Vietnam, the war on terror, and now the war on global warming, because I think different movements, different ideologies affect different sectors of the human population. Some people might really be taken by the war on terror, others might not. But with the war on global warming will get done. We've got a series of fears that are being marketed to us. If the West is going to remain as the dominant world power all the way to the end, as biblical prophecy seems to point in that direction, then the emperor must come from the western part of the Roman Empire, which would be us. And so the erosion of the nation states, the emergence of common laws, common goals, coming out of, essentially groups in the United Nations that are not even elected, but that set policy by pointing leadership. They're showing leadership. They're saying, this is the way the policies should go. And so suddenly the parliaments and the people seem to be following that. It's kind of like a sheep mentality, but that's the way human societies run. So we are also involved in this story in the West. And it's not just the rest of the world. We are under, and if I may be so bold without risking to offend anyone, that I do find the rise of the Vatican also very interesting. The Vatican has vast diplomacy missions, but there seems to be one of these fallen angels is referred to as the Queen of Heaven, going very far back in history, all the way to the Sumerian civilization in the south of Mesopotamia. And the Marian movement is quite powerful in the Vatican. Pope Jean Paul was very proud to be part of that movement. And in fact, he gathered the largest number of cardinals and leaders of the Church in St. Peter's Square since the Council of Vatican II, and dedicated the 21st century to Mary. And
well, I mean, I'm of the Orthodox faith. I mean,
yes.
we certainly the Virgin Mary. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, are you suggesting, for example, that there is when we talk about, for example, sightings of so-called sightings, alleged sightings of the Virgin Mary at Fatima or at Guadalupe, that is part of this deception? Yeah,
I'm suggesting that the Virgin Mary has, of course, a place in the Christian faith, but that these are not appearances of the Virgin Mary, but they're rather appearances of this fallen angel who is posing as this character of the Christian Church in the post-Christian era, where in the ancient world the fallen angels appeared, it seems, as gods to the various pantheons. And in the monotheistic era, ushered in by the pouring of the Holy Spirit in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, as it has now swept the world, and the monotheism has become the order of the day, the fallen angels have had to reinvent themselves. And one of these perhaps this Queen of Heaven, who is not in fact the Virgin Mary, but the Mother Goddess, as she was known in previous cultures, and she might be leading and influencing the Vatican, because if this Antichrist that we spoke of is to have dominion on the political level, economic level, military level, and also on the religious level, as you yourself mentioned, the rebuilding of the temple. And so he's going to make religious claims by going and sitting in the Holy of Holies and declaring himself as God. Then all the major religious movements of the world must at some point in history say, yes, he is the guy we were waiting for, and that includes the Christians.
On this program, we often discuss who is manipulating world events, who is stage managing our reality for us behind the scenes. And we talk about groups like the Council on Foreign Relations and the Bilderbergers and the Trilateral Commission, the Club of Rome and the 300 Committee and all these groups. But maybe we've been missing something all along. if we in fact believe that we are engaged in a war between good and evil, maybe the stage managing is being done on the part of fallen angels, and they are here once again in the guise of UFOs or aliens. Ali Siadatan is the writer-director of UFOs, Angels and Gods, a documentary produced by, I think, again, Productions, and we'll let you know if there's any more screenings happening. Ali, I mentioned these various secret societies and these groups like the Bilderbergers and
the Illuminati.
Yeah. Do you believe, for example, that the alien or the fallen angels have infiltrated the Council on Foreign Relations, and that its principal members are either hybrids or in some sort of working in concert with fallen angels? Yes,
it's impossible that they wouldn't have. If you look at the pyramid that kind of rules the world, there's the people on top. They're kind of like the bellwethers. They're the slave drivers. And from there, they would report to hybrids, who would then report to fallen angels, who would then report to Satan. And what we would have is an unbroken chain of command. From this world view, we essentially live in a kingdom. As you go deeper into it, you're going into the darkness, so it's hard to see, how exactly it works out. But that would be the way this would work out. For instance, if you look at the eye, let's say on the back of the American dollar bill,
the
all-seeing eye of Ra, the sun god. Now, what we documented is the role of the sun god, for instance, in the Christian persecution of the 5th century under Diocletian, the largest ones that ever occurred, for a long time. Diocletian sent a emissary to the oracle of Apollo in Delphi, and the answer came from the sun god, that the Christians are the enemies of the gods. So they were arrested, their scriptures were burned, their civil rights were denied, they were forced to sacrifice to the gods or be killed in the circus. And if we continue this trend to the modern world, the symbol of the sun god, this eye, that was a symbol he had in the Egyptian pantheon, where he went by the name of Ra, Apollo to the Greeks, Shams to the Persians. He's got a very, very long history. We still see his symbol, and it's interesting that it says underneath it, new secular order, like it announces something. And one of the merits of the secular order that we in the West, taught to us through the education system, is that it turns Satan and all of these things we're talking about into mythology. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if I were to say, what is the largest conspiracy in the world, I would say the largest conspiracy in the world is to hide the existence of Satan. That is the largest conspiracy in the world. So the secular world order has that effect on our minds. Suddenly we have to struggle past all kinds of thoughts that have been put in our minds to come to the realization of the true nature of reality.
Yeah, I would disagree, Ali. You are, maybe we're parsing terms here, but you are a conspiracy theorist. I mean, this is the biggest conspiracy of all, isn't it? I mean,
it is, yeah.
All right, let's grab some calls here, and let's say hello to Michael. Welcome to News Talk 1010 CFRB. You're on the line with Ali Siadatan.
Well, hello. I just have one quick comment to make.
Yes.
You keep talking about alien-human hybrids.
Yes.
I believe that there may be aliens. There's no question about that. But from what I know, it would be an impossibility to create an alien-human hybrid, like their DNA or whatever. It might not even be DNA. Might be something similar. Would be so different from ours. It would be impossible. Like you can made a horse with a donkey to create a mule.
Well,
but you can't make a horse with an elephant because the DNA becomes too different. And it just doesn't work.
Well, I mean, it depends what you consider to be the origin of these aliens. Going back into the book of Genesis, what we're told is that the fallen angels, termed in Hebrew the Benah Elohim, mingled with humans.